Good morning, everybody, and welcome once again to Thorns Live, presented by Toyota. Our post-game show is loaded with analysis, interviews, questions from you, the fans. The Thorns finishing up that scoreless draw against Chicago in the NWSL Challenge Cup from Zions Bank Stadium in Utah. Delighted to bring in Michelle French. Now, give me a second, Frenchie. Got to get folks up to speed. Former pilot All-American, former member of the U.S. Women's National Team, former head coach U.S. U20 Women's Team, and current head coach of your alma mater, the Portland Pilots. Welcome, Michelle. Thanks for joining us. All right, so Frenchie, we're going to get your audio up. We're going to make sure you are up and running. How about your takeaways of this scoreless match? Both clubs going with different rosters. Chicago with a totally new 11, but Mark Parsons tinkering with his roster as well. All right, now I'm gonna make sure that technically we're good. Frenchie, can you hear me? Okay, I can't hear you. I'm going to read your lips. What'd you make of that last flurry of this match? I mean, the Thorns really knocking on the door. Ogle with a chance. Autumn had a screamer off the crossbar. The Thorns so close to that first goal and those 3 points.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was exciting because they found opportunities to get the ball wide, whether it was a player in the midfield releasing wide, Kristen Westphal getting forward as that right back towards the end of the game, or even releasing one of those forwards up front wide. There was a lot of variety as far as getting into the wide channel, and then the service was much more purposeful. And you just see it. You could see a couple really good chances for the Thorns to get one in to win that game. But it was an exciting inning for sure.
We're used to mentioning players like Haran finding the back of the net, or Sinky, players like that cling with the service. But we were talking about players that aren't coming into this tournament, weren't getting a lot of minutes, or rookies getting their first taste of real live game experience. I'm telling you, Parsons had a good look at some good minutes from quality players.
Yeah, he absolutely did. And I think, you have to find that balance between trying to figure out if you want to get a higher seed or if you want to, be able to get some kids some minutes. So, and Morgan Weaver is one of those.
Speaking of Morgan Weaver, we are delighted to have Morgan joining us, making her first start for the Portland Thorns out of Washington State, the number 2 overall draft pick. Morgan, thank you so much for joining us. Your flurry in the first half, almost resulting in a goal, that volley, almost finding the back of the net, Boyd making a nice save. Your overall feelings of starting for the first time for the Thorns, how it went for you?
I mean, it was a huge honor being with such a great team, great players, great coaching staff. I was very excited and very humbled and honored to be here and being able to get my first start.
Awesome. Morgan, you've obviously did very well at Wazoo. It was a joy to watch you in the Final Four
Thank you.
last year. Talk a little bit about your transition into the pros and what, the first few weeks of preseason were like, and then really getting a lot of minutes in these first 2 games and how it's a little bit different from the college game.
I mean, it was a good transition, I think. Also, I think the coaching staff at Washington State really set me up for coming to Portland, and then just being able to be here and training with some of the best people in the world. I mean, they've helped me so much, and everyone on the team is such a good communicator and trying to just help you and understand the game. And I think it's been amazing, and I'm very excited to keep going and continuing.
Awesome. What would be one of the things that you feel like you can start to implement into your game that's going to help you even more as you start to progress as a player? Because you clearly are strong, powerful. You love the ball at your feet, taking players on, and that's scary for a back line. So what's that next step for you as a player?
I think being able to just get a shot off earlier will be really helpful for my team as well. Just being able to get the ball into the box, finding Lindsay's head or sink on her foot, I think it'll be a great game. And I think, honestly, it'll be even better once we all get connected a little bit more.
Going forward, obviously a scoreless draw today, Morgan, coming off of the disappointing setback, but a great match against Carolina. What becomes the mindset for game 3 and 4 going into knockout rounds when you're looking for that elusive win?
I mean, I think just being able to get a goal in the back of the net, I think is the biggest key right now. And, just continuing to press and just doing the best we can. And that's all we can ask for. There's nothing else we can really ask for.
Morgan, thank you so much for taking the time. Just so much fun watching you play, and congrats on your first start with the Portland Thorns.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That was Morgan Weaver, #2 overall draft pick in this past NWSL draft. You mentioned it, Frenchie. Pace, strength, and a nightmare for a back line. Morgan Weaver.
Yeah, absolutely. When you have a player with her speed coming at you, and it starts to get you a little bit on your back heels, so you have to decide, am I going to step hard and try to slow her down, or I'm going to kind of let her come to me and try to get a tackle in. But I think the other side of her game is also very impressive. Her work rate and energy defensively to win the ball back if a teammate's lost it, if she's lost it, is another really important piece she's going to bring to this Thorns team, because at this level, you have to play both sides of the ball.
Michelle, there was a bit of a lull in that second half where it looked like Chicago was starting to gain some possession and control of the ball. McCaskill had that dangerous free kick late in the match. And yet the Thorns were able to have that huge last 7, 8, 9 minutes, including stoppage time. What do you make of that?
Well, I think that middle part of that second half is when changes started to happen for both teams, and it takes a little bit of time for players to get their footing. So I think once those players got settled that came into the match, I think you started to see the Thorns start to get a hold of the game a little bit more.
Another player that really settled in nicely and getting quality minutes, Madison Pogarch, joining us now. Madison, thank you so much. Right after the match, your take on quality minutes and being out there on the pitch against one of the best teams in the league. I got to assume that was an awful lot of fun.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's really great whenever you get a chance to step on the field, and especially against a quality opponent like that and get some quality minutes. Super grateful to be here, and really appreciative of the opportunity.
What was some of the information probably that you received from Mark in regards to your role getting forward with the ball? Because I think you were very confident, and your speed on the ball and on the dribble was really cool to watch. So what's kind of been the information you've received tactically in terms of that?
Thank you. Yeah, Mark does compliments my ability to get forward. I feel like I'm a very attacking-minded person. Can use both left and right foot at times, and I think that kind of showed a little bit today, both left and right sides of the field. We want to get in behind teams, we want to get in behind their back line, and so his direction to me was like, test their back line, use your skill, use your aggression, use your qualities, and let's see if we can get some goals and get some action out of that.
And how cool to get your start. How cool to get this start for the Thorns. I mean,
yes.
Tell us how you got the news and what kind of butterflies, or were you just ready to go?
A little bit of butterflies, but also ready to go. I think like my mentality since I've gotten here is just kind of always have to be ready. At any moment, anything can happen. And I know with this tournament, like so many games being so close together, everyone has to be ready at all times. Everybody plays a role. So I think that was super important going in. And then it was a very quick conversation. Mark kind of calmed me down, and I think the conversation lasted like 30 seconds. Like, hey, we're going to start you at right. Are you comfortable with that? And we're going to put you at left. And we'll see how it goes. And that was kind of it. So I was like, yep, got it. Let's go. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Congratulations on
Thank you.
quality minutes on your start, showing Thorns fans what's to come from one of Rutgers' finest. Congratulations on a really good game.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Madison. All right, Frenchie, you and I and everybody else on this show, Thorns Live, presented by Toyota, will have a nice, quiet few minutes while we show you some highlights of this game against Chicago.
Take a look at the starting lineups for this affair. We begin with Portland. They do have some notable names in here. Sinclair, Horan, Klingenberg. It's a very inexperienced back line outside of Klingenberg. Meanwhile, for Rory Dames in Chicago, they talked about having a plan. The plan today, an entirely new 11. And the cross in front, Weaver! Boyd stuck her hand out and lifted it over. Nearly Morgan Weaver's first goal in the NWSL. Has just come on. Morgan Weaver came off for about 55 plus minutes. And this is struck from distance, goes whistling wide of the post. Horan gave it a good effort. Eating coming into a clearer view of the next few days. Lucy, no. Rodriguez will shoot and put it wide of the post. Takes well to coaching.
maybe Mark Parsons knows his coach, his players well. Clearly, Rocky Rodriguez heard his message.
That's what we're hearing from the sideline. Westfall on the move, lays it off. Chance just gets wide for Ogle. Clearance right into the teeth of Portland. This skips off the crossbar. Autumn Smithers from distance. Blistering. Tattoos the bar.
Whew, Smithers, this close, and you know Ogle wants that one back too, Frenchie.
Absolutely. She put in so much hard work that whole game. She deserved that goal for sure. I wish she would have gotten it.
I really like the play of some of these youngsters. It's a quick preseason. You know, as a coach and as a player, you need time to develop players and then figure out rotations. And yet, these younger players not only took an opportunity, but made the most of it. And some of the folks we're not used to talking about almost produced game winners today.
Right, and you saw it. I mean, the one off the crossbar, Ogle's opportunity, Weaver's chance in the 6-yard box. It just goes to show that you give players some hope and an opportunity to step on the field, that they can be game changers for you. So I think a lot of them put themselves in a good position to get opportunity as this tournament rolls on.
Rodriguez coming in as a sub in that second half, 73rd minute, just wide of scoring the go-ahead goal. And again, you see more of a controlling midfielder in game one. She came in with attack in mind off the bench today.
Yeah, she absolutely did. I think, when Mark brought her into the game, it was this injection of energy and creativity, which was clear to see.
All right. Speaking of Mark, Thorns head coach Mark Parsons, thanks for joining us, buddy. Your take on, let's go to that last 5, 6, 7 minutes when you guys were so close. I know the bench was up screaming. Walk us through those last few minutes when you were knocking on the door.
Well, first of all, only Ann, Schatz, and Frenchie. You guys don't even give me the heads up. Just pick up the phone and Frenchie's joined us.
How about it, man?
It's great to see you both. I didn't get to hear much of that, obviously just jumping on what your thoughts were. Last time I got to hear a little bit, and it helps, right, perspective-wise, because I've just been on the sideline all emotional and trying to get a win. I think first half, we'll look back and go first half had big chances.
Yeah.
We looked really good in the final third, created chances, and we need to take. And second half, it was a bit of a different game, and we still created some chances. So final third, I think creating, but got to take them is good. Otherwise, I'll be honest, disappointed with decision-making and intelligence at times. I think we sort of play a little bit of a different game than what we wanted to do. I think a positive is that we've got a lot of people out there with NWSL experience and giving them opportunity. And I think that everyone played a little bit lower than what we've seen. We've been playing against each other, NWSL versus NWSL all preseason. We played a little bit under the level that we have, and mainly in decision making, positioning to be able to hurt them a bit more, and then decision making on the ball and quality on the ball. So at the end, the message was, I thought work rate, mentality, character was really, really good. Yeah, we represent the Thorns in our mentality, but I think we can be better in representing the Thorns with our quality. I think we could be a little bit better, gain more control. Don't just attack for that one chance. Attack where you have organization to counter press, to keep them locked in, to get a second chance, to get a third chance. So areas to improve, and that's what we want to be, right? This is what this game was about for us. I love that people got the opportunity, and we grow from this.
Mark, can you talk a little bit about the midfield in the first half? Obviously, you have 3 veterans in there, and then you add Ogle to the mix. What was the impact that you felt she had, not only in the first half, but throughout the rest of the game?
Yeah, touch and go. If we played Sel in the 6 or Ogs in the 6, and we felt that Ogs was going to be able to dictate the tempo for us, and Sel with her energy and pressing ability have a bit more freedom to get after the opposition. Also on the back post, getting into the box, I think Sel can be dangerous. But it was, we felt we wanted to be able to go and control the game and attack with control, to be able to keep the attack going after the shots. And Ogs is the brain and the player that's got those qualities to better slow us down. And yeah, unfortunately, I felt that first half. Yeah, I know we created chances. I'm gonna look back and be happy with the chances, but we wanted the game to be a little bit different, and we wanted to build off, where on the last game we had a good amount of the ball, more than we normally do against Carolina, but we felt we could get much more, but create much more with it. We created more, but we had less control, and we want to be a team with control. And in a tournament like this, you got control and you dominate, and you run less. If your distances are good when you finish the attack, you run less. If not, then you got to transition more. And yeah, I think we can be smarter in managing our bodies with better intelligence on the ball.
You've got a bit of a break, but still, this is game 2 of a 3-game span in 9 days. So just getting a little ahead of ourselves, what do things look like for the Sunday match in terms of minutes managed, different rotations and starters? I know it's a little early to ask, but obviously your quality bench and the use of 5 subs come into play.
Moving on already, Anne.
Yep.
Let's get Sunday underway. Yeah, I think it's another massive positive. The more I talk to you guys, I feel a bit better. Obviously, I'm frustrated that we couldn't perform a bit better and get the win. Positive is we managed people. We got loads, well managed today. I think other teams are going to do things differently. For us, not getting key players minutes in a game like this and giving them the whole period off, I think it's sometimes going to be tough for momentum. So be able to get key players in, but manage minutes. Obviously, a couple of key players didn't get on the pitch in the end. But yeah, I'm excited for us to be able to refresh, recover from this, and look to be at full strength on Sunday. And now, saying that, there's players who are earning opportunity through the chance they got today. I thought there was some very good individual performances and showing us things that they've been doing over the last couple of years.
Mark, thanks a ton, as always.
Cheers, guys. Don't have too much fun without us.
Well,
can we just have a Zoom call with just us 3 later, just catch up, just talk a little bit?
Count on that. Cheers.
All right, guys. See you.
That's Mark Parsons, head coach of the Portland Thorns. Frenchie, I want to get back to a point that you made earlier in the show. This is Thorns Live, presented by Toyota. If you're a coach and you've worn the hat at the highest level of player and coach in this type of a tournament, this quick, crazy tournament where you're playing for seeding, you're going to go to a knockout round. What takes priority? Wins and points, or getting folks playing time?
Yeah, I think it's probably different for every single coach in the league. You could see today with Rory, with the Chicago Red Stars, having a completely new brand new lineup. And then Mark with a lot of adjustments, but keeping a lot of his veterans in there as well. And I think, I think that can be for a couple reasons. One, Mark might want to continue to build chemistry and see what players can play well with players that are typically starting. But to your seeding and seeding point, if you think about it, if you have players that are rested, regardless of what seed you actually get, you're going to have your best players available to play against presumably the other team's best players. So you can look at it from that side, or you can purely look at it from, no matter what, I want to give these players an opportunity. I want to have my best players on the field every single game, and we'll see where we're at when it comes to seeding time. But I think the competitive level of these players and these coaches, I think they've put a lot of thought and time into how are we going to rotate these players. So regardless of what seed we get, our best players are ready to play and give us the best chance to win the tournament.
And in the locker room, when you look at the standings going into tonight's NWSL Challenge Cup games, and the marquee match is Carolina and Washington, Portland's next opponent, by the way, Washington. Anyway, when you look at the standings right at this minute, with Portland down at the end of the table without any wins but a point for a tie, right now, if you're the coach, I'm going to have you put your coaching hat on. Are you thinking, okay, now we're going to make sure rotations are best, players are freshest, managing minutes. We're not going to win this thing in terms of running the table and being that top 1 or 2 seeds. So let's play for freshness and recovery. Could that be a mindset?
Yeah, I think it absolutely could be. I also think you have to think of building momentum. And I think Mark did a really good job in his analysis, thinking about what are the things we're going to take away that we're really good about this. We got players minutes, we got rookies time, we rested some key players. maybe Sink and Haran didn't get as much rest as maybe he had initially hoped, or maybe it was the exact minutes he thought they were going to play. But as I said, I think, they're of the right mindset that they're building momentum right now. And now you've got the majority of players have played that are on that roster. So now you have an idea when you get into those next few games, who can bring what to each game and what changes they can make when they come in. So, I think you can look at it either way, but as a head coach, you have your own philosophy, and I think Mark is sticking right to what he likes to do as a coach.
Okay. Last question for you. One of our fans weighed in on Weaver with the pace and the strength. If you had to pick your player of the match, I know one of the fans was picking Weaver. Who would you pick for the Portland Thorns?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think there's who was the most exciting. Every time they got the ball, they kind of took your breath away, and I think that was definitely Weaver for me. I think Ogle did her job very well quietly.
Okay.
But lastly, I think we also have to give those two center, that whole back line. There probably hasn't been a time that all four of them have played that much time together. And they were fairly organized and didn't let Chicago get behind them very much in that first half. So that's a tough one for me, Ann.
It's okay. I'll give you all of that. Frenchie, it's been so fun to have you here. The arc of your career, starting at Portland, pilot to All-American, 3 Final Fours, and then going on with the U.S. Women's National Team, that silver medal in the 2000 Olympics, and staying in the U.S. system, and now back at U of P. What a blast! What a ride for you, huh?
Well, first of all, I think I need to hire you as my agent.
Ooh.
Just no, I think if I ever knew I was going to have the opportunity to come back to University of Portland and try to instill what Clive did to all these players, what he did for me, what he did for Tiffany Mulbrett, Shannon McMillan, Sink, if I can have a smidgen of the impact that he had on all of us, on the players that we have now, I will be very, very fortunate. So so lucky to have the opportunity to be back at the University of Portland, and hopefully taking advantage of every single second of it.
It's just been an absolute delight to have you with us today. Frenchie, thank you for giving us your morning, for your great insight and analysis, and let's do it again.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
All right. Now stay with us, because we just got to remind everybody that as we say goodbye, Thorns Live presented by Toyota. Remember the Thorns' next game against Washington Sunday. That's July 5th, kickoff 9:30 a.m. Pacific. Sunday, July 5th, against a very good Washington club. Have a very safe and happy 4th of July, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Thorns Live, presented by Toyota.